Hello YouTube, Max One Chase One again. This video is going to be on the removal of the front wheel from a Honda. As in my bike, it's an ST1100 Super Sport, and it's time that the tire needs to be replaced because you can see the dry rot that has occurred on the tire, and at the speeds that this Super Sport produces, I don't want to be having any tire removal from the rim while traveling at those super sport speeds. While doing this, you will need these are the following tools that you need. You're gonna need I said it's a 1x4 and some short pieces of 1x4, and I'll show you how these are going to be used. And also too, with the 1x4s, I cut two short pieces, one to go up under that foot and one to go up under that foot while it's on the center stand. Notice how high the wheel is off the ground by putting those blocks up under it. Now how I did that, I rocked the bike from side to side, got one peg under there, went on the other side, rocked it over and put the other peg on it, and that raised the wheel that high off the ground. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to remove this wheel with this 3-ton jack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise it right up under the engine block, raise the wheel high enough so I don't have to go through all that process of taking the fender off. I'm just going to raise this wheel up high enough so that I can just roll it right on out from the front. Let's take a look at some of the tools you'll need. Some PBR blaster or PB blaster. To show you what the PB blaster is going to be needed for, is for this Allen wrench bolt here. Believe me, whoever put this on the last time, I feel like I could hand out a butt whipping, because that thing needs some PB blaster, and let it sit for about 15-20 minutes, and it kicked butt, but I finally got it to come off, to loosen up. You're gonna need a crescent wrench. The reason I need the crescent wrench is for to use this hole on the end so I can use it for the torque that goes inside the Allen wrench. Alright. A Phillips head screwdriver for the speedometer screw that helps hold the cable in. A 3/8, I use a 3/8 inch ratchet. That's because on the other side there's ratchet bolts on this side. For some reason, I don't know why, they have Allen wrenches. You'll need an extension. I did a reducer on it down to a 1/4 inch. That is for this small bolt that's right here that holds the brake fluid bracket. One on this side and one's on the other side. And that's an 8mm socket. And then I need the 12mm socket for the bolts on the other side. This Allen wrench is a 5mm, which goes for right here. And this is a 6mm that goes for right here. Alright, I'm going to stop here, go on the other side, show you those bolts that need to come out for it to have to remove the brake assembly on this bike. Okay, here on the right side you have a 12mm bolt here, and you have a 12mm bolt here, and then you have that 8mm nut right here, because the line that splits that goes to the other side, let me get out that glare, that goes to the other side is identical to this one here. Alright, and there's one last tool that I'm going to show you that I'm using. You know, in my other video I talked about that furniture dolly that you can get from Harbor Freight. Well, while I'm working pretty low on the ground, I didn't feel like putting it on the bike lift, so I'm doing it right on the porch, right on the floor. I had this AB-2 Rogue. It looked like it's a cushion seat from somewhere. And what I used, I looked at it and I said, hey, that looked like that could fit right on top of that. I wanted to sit flat on that furniture dolly, and that fits right ideal, exactly great. I can roll around on my behind and wind up and go to the left side or the right side, or any type of low work that I may be doing. All right. Okay, YouTube. Let's go on the other side, and we'll start from the left and work our way to the right. Okay, YouTube, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I had done already sprayed the screws with PB Blaster, and I broke them loose. Let's go ahead and start up here at the top. Take this 8mm screw out, and you see how good the use of the extension works. That screw, change over to the 6mm. And I like doing this in real time so you kind of see exactly how hard it is to get the part out. There's the 6mm screw. And then the 5mm. And that's the 5mm. Now take the Phillips screwdriver. Can you see it? Let me adjust it a little bit. Take the Phillips screwdriver, unscrew the Phillips screw that holds the speedometer cable in. Get the screw for that. I can pull the speedometer cable out just like that. Try to make sure that you notice that it's got a flat end, so when you get ready to put it back in, make sure you match that flat end with what's inside the housing. Alright, I'm gonna let that relax. And now we're gonna finish here, and we're gonna go to the other side. Okay, now we're on the right side, and I'm just going to do this for this segment because the camera catches a hard time being too high or too low. Same thing, the 8mm screw here. Then I'm going to readjust for the lower bolt. Now here on the right side, you have the two 12mm bolts. Again, I use some PBR to help loosen the bolts so they won't be so hard to get off. There's one. And here's two. And after that, the brake assembly is pretty much ready to come loose. Now I'm going to go get my C-clamp, and I'm going to collapse the cylinder so I can slide this out and slide this back. And then after that, we're going to the next phase where I would take the bolt out for the front wheel. Now for to collapse the brake calipers, once I took it off of here, it was loose enough for me to push it down, so you can kind of see that it still got some, it's hanging on to here and to here. I took the C-clamp. Like I said, if you don't have any C-clamps like this, these things have been around for, I know, as long as I've been able to do anything. And I put it on it just like that, just on the back side and right there by the cylinder. Some people like to use a screwdriver. I don't care too much for that. And then I just turned it in, not putting too much pressure, because you can kind of see that I don't want to put no pressure on these little small things here. Try to keep it as much as you can on the disc itself, and then on the back of the cylinder. and then just turn it real nice and slow, and it'll gradually go on in just like it's going, and that's good as I need to do it. Also too, when you do this, you can kind of see how much it done came loose, and then I can just take it off just like this. And it's I need to go get me some zip ties so I can hold these up in the upward position so I don't bend these lines here. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side just the same, and I'm gonna get some zip ties to show you how I zip tied this up somewhere so I can kind of get it up and out of the way. Now here's my quick remedy fix. I suggested if you want to use it, instead of using a bungee cord, I went down in my shed and I had my bicycle tires that I've had that were flat, and I cut them into strips. Kind of see how long that is. And what I did, like I said, the same thing. These come in very handy. Goes over top of the mirror, and by being made of rubber, it doesn't scratch anything. It don't have a hook on it. You just tie a little knot in it on how high you want it and how tight you want it, and it'll hold everything you want right there, and you can get to worry about it coming loose. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other side, and I'll be right back. And here is the left side. It's all tied up again over the mirror, tied into this point here. Notice too, I've taken my screws, I put my screws back inside the caliper frame, and the speedometer cable screw. Here we go. Speedometer screw cable is back in. Alright, also too, notice the flat portion of the speedometer cable. Again, make sure you pay strict attention to that when you get ready to put that back in. Alright, now YouTube, this is getting the brake calipers off. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to wind up and jack the bike up so I can get the front wheel off without having to remove the fender. But my next thing to do is to loosen up these holders, brackets, screws here, and break that bolt loose on this side, and the same thing with these here. Alright, stand by. Okay, the pinch bars, the pinch bolts are loose on the left side, and they're loose on the right side. Now I forgot to tell you what size nut it goes for here, but I forgot to go down there and find out through my toolbox which one. I think it may be close to a 27 millimeter, but I'm gonna take a look and see, and I'll get back with you in a minute and let you know which one it is. Well, YouTube, I didn't feel like going all the way down there to my shed to go and look at my toolbox, but I said maybe the tool kit might have a wrench for it. And so I looked in there, and what is it? It's a 24 millimeter. And like I said, it has a good fit. And what I did to, since it's such a short handle, gosh, that you'll break your back trying to get that off there. I took my crescent wrench, flat like that, and grabbed the end of the handle, and that gave me enough torque for me to break that nut to wind up, and now I can take it off. Alright, so you can kind of use your internal tools to do what you need to do on this bike. Alright, so let's get ready to get into the phase of get ready to remove the front wheel without having to take the fender off. Now before I get into the point of taking the wheel off and jacking the bike up, I forgot about this one portion here, is that go and remove your nut here. It's a little short nut, and you can kind of see it screws right into that. And then you have to take a small screwdriver, really, because this gap in between here is very close. So you got to separate this a little bit, but make sure you back off these pinch holder bolts enough to give this some room to kind of bag off itself. Alright, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side the same way, and then see if we can take this axle out. And then one thing you got to remember too, when you get ready to take the axle out, in between the midsection there, you want to make sure that there's a shim there. And then on this side, you want to make sure that any washers, because that looks like it's a little washer here. You got to make sure that you take a look to make sure that when it comes out, you put it back in the order that it come out of. I do have a ST1100 manual right there. I could look into it, but if I'm doing this, heck, I ain't that stupid. I can wind up and know if I see something fall out, I'll put it back like it came in. Alright, so that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna separate the pitch sections of this the axle holders, and I'm gonna try to knock this pin right on out so we can get ready to jack the wheel up. Okay, I've used my screwdriver, and like I said, it's a little bit of a pinch on this side and a little bit of pinch on this side. Makes you do all 1, 2, and on the other side 3 and 4, just to make sure you keep them even. And just to kind of make sure that you do have it loose enough, get you a Phillips screwdriver, stick it in the hole, and see if it'll turn like this. And if it turns like this, then you're ready for the axle to come out. And what I did too as well, PB Blaster, I shot some PB Blaster in there just to kind of make sure everything is loose and ready to come out. I'm not going to be damaging anything trying to get it out. Alright, so now the axle is ready to come out and the wheel is about ready to come out. So now let's go into that point where I'm going to jack the bike up so you can kind of see that you don't have to take the fender off. Okay, YouTube, then let's get ready to jack the bike up and get that front wheel off the ground. Again, I got my 3-ton floor jack. Got me about 3 pieces of 1x4s, and I got them just wide enough so it doesn't touch the plastic here nor the plastic on the other side. So I'm not gonna give you the measurement, but you can do that yourself. If you're gonna get up under here, you can do it. You see these little pieces right here? They're there, and they're actually, there's 4 of them, 2 here and 2 here. Position your blocks so they'll touch on top of that, and what that does, it keeps it from hitting the exhaust here, and it clears it on this side. Alright, and then you want to try to make sure you get it center here so the jack doesn't lean one way or the other, even though you're not putting that much pressure on the jack itself at all. Alright, I'm gonna bag mine off just a little bit. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll jack this puppy on up and get started. And I'm gonna show you the result of it. There's no need for you to see me jack a bike up in there. That's just like unscrewing bolts, right? Alright, stand by. Okay, YouTube, I still got a 1/4 inch left on the back tire before it touched the ground. Here's what the boards are doing, and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and those little studs are doing what they're supposed to do. And look how high the tire is off the ground. I give that about, gosh, 4 or 5 inches. Alright, that tire should come off of there now without having to take the fender off. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and wind up and see if I can tap that axle out of there and make sure I don't lose any shims or anything come out of place, so when I get ready to put it back in there, I know the order that it came in, that it came out of. Alright, stand by. Okay, YouTube, here's the wheel completely off. Like I said, when the axle was in there, I screwed the bolt in about that much, and then I just tapped it with my hammer, tapped it into there, and then just unscrewed it and took it out. And then when I went on this side, when the axle was coming out, I put a Phillips screwdriver in there and just turned it and pulled it at the same time. I put my leg up under it so I can hold it up and then just pull the axle right on out. Now let's take a look to see what shims is in place that could be misplaced or not, that could fall out later on. Let's wiggle this a little bit. This comes out so you can kind of see it. We'll make sure that that goes back in that way. Nothing else. I think this is the bearing in there. Let's go on the other side. Here's the speedometer assembly. Now, you see this notch right here? You want to make sure that that notch is on the back side of that. So when the wheel turns, it doesn't spins all the way around to get back to the other end. Alright, so did you notice that? Alright, let's wiggle. Let's see what comes out on this. So let's see that it's there. Nothing is going to fall out. I think this is part of the speedometer assembly that spins with for the speed. This right here is what spins for the speedometer. There are two notches that are here. I guess they're the one that catches the speedometer and spins it. These two notches here. Alright. Other than that, and then let me move around. And like I said, now I can roll the wheel out without having to remove the fender. And YouTube, this is how you remove the front wheel off a ST1100 or ST1100 Super Sport in my version without having to take the fender off like they say in the manual. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take this tire and get it changed and use my Harbor Freight wheel balancer and stick this back on there and be ready to go when we get another warm day in Virginia to ride. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do it today. Again, if you like this video, like it, share it, give me a comment, but let me know if this helped you or not. And if you got an ST1100, keep the two wheels on the ground. And like I've always said, max one thing out, chase another one. Thank you for watching.